It's race day here at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, a track that's certainly seen a fair share of electrifying races over the past few years, and there are no doubts that today's race will be just as brilliant. It's an updated track at Catalunya, and we welcome the removal of the chicane in the final sector, shortening lap times and reducing the total running to 2.9 miles and 14 turns. This was actually the original setup for the track, but it hasn't been used since 2007. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Sergio Perez will lead us away from pole position, and Oscar Piastri completes the front row. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Verstappen, Sainz, Leclerc, Norris, Ricciardo, Hamilton, Stroll, Fernando Alonso, Tsunoda, Russell, Gasly, Zhou, Albon, Hülkenberg, Sargent, Ocon, Magnussen, and Valtteri Bottas begins the race from the back of the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track. And joining me in the commentary box this afternoon, the First Lady of World Motorsports, Naomi Schiff. I know what we've got to do before the start of today's race, but what about our driver? What do the final hours look like for them?
Well, every driver certainly has their own way of preparing themselves before a race. But I can tell you that pre-race rituals are a real thing. When I was in go-karting, I used to touch every wheel in a specific sequence before I got into the kart. And then I stepped up to cars and had a specific set of fireproof base layers just for race day. So watch the drivers when they're on the grid. Some may be sitting on the floor and isolating, others may be up to other things that they do. But these little things really help their minds get ready for the race.
Okay, DRS is now available. You might experience some understeer now that you're in the wake of the car ahead. Try to get past as soon as possible. Okay, be careful with the front wing, you've taken some minor damage. Tyre condition still looking good. Good job, that was the fastest lap of the race so far. The car behind started to drop back. There's a gap beginning to form, let's make the most of it. Final lap, push, push.
Checkered flag.
Yes! Let's go, come on, yes!
And Leclerc to the line, to the checkered flag. It's King Charles today. He wins.
That is a 5th win in a row in this season. I don't know if anyone else can stop them, but honestly, I wish someone would because this is getting slightly predictable.
Looking at the podium, you can see that red suit familiar to fans across the globe. A world-class win for a world-class team. Ferrari, do it again.